One of my subscribers asked, how do you ensure that you have great sex? And I thought this question was really important because I find that sex is a barometer for how the rest of the relationship is going. It kind of shows how the communication's going, how the other person makes you feel, and so on. So I want to ensure that we're having great sex. So I want to break people into two categories for sex so that we can understand what you are and what your partner is. And what you're going to find is it's vital that if you don't have a sexual partner yet, you try to find someone that's the same as you because it makes life easier. If we find out your partner is an opposite category of you, we'll give you some strategies so that you can still find some middle ground. All right, so right into it. The two different sexual pieces are you are either physical or mental emotional. Now, the misnomer is we thought all men were physical. And what physical means is when someone's horny, they're horny. So a man sees a pretty woman and he's ready to go. And all that has to happen is he's feeling horny and he's ready. So that's a physical person. And believe it or not, all men are not physical. Everyone, male and female, are 50% of them are physical, 50% mental emotional. Now, what is mental emotional? These folks need to be warmed up. And what that looks like is they need to feel connection. They want to have conversation. They want to go on a long hike. They want to go spend time together and feel that bond. And then they can get horny. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, I need that connection before I can be sexual. Both of these categories is actually like for when you're at, for example, the 6-month mark, the year mark, the 10-year mark. So you already feel comfortable with your partner. And now we need to figure out what sexual type you are. And it's either physical or mental emotional. Now, a story that always kind of hit home about this was before I learned about this, I thought all men were physical, including myself. So a number of years ago, I was dating, I had a girlfriend, and she was beautiful. And she would sometimes just put on lingerie and walk around. We haven't like hung out all day. And she'd put on lingerie and be like, all right. Or just put on something, where she looked phenomenal. And she'd be like, this is my way to get him to want to have sex. She's like, I'll just walk around in something hot, and he's just going to be horny. And with a lot of men that she dated that were physical response, they were all over it. But what I found out much later is that I'm actually mental emotional. So when I want to have sex is after we go on a long hike and we engage with each other, we have a conversation. When we're traveling and we're doing something fun, we spend all day together, now I'm feeling horny. But just getting horny because of something physical, because she looks good, doesn't get me really in the mood. Now, this can be confusing because sometimes you're going to want to, there will be times where I will show signs of physical response, where if I do see she's hot, I'm ready to go. But more times than not, it's going to really be based on connection. So, depending on who you're dating, figure out what you are and what they are. And then if they're physical, maybe you want to dress a certain way. If they're mental emotional, maybe you're going to go to dinner. Maybe you're going to go on a hike. Maybe you're going to spend some time together. Maybe you're going to go on the internet and Google some fun dating questions. All right. So to ensure you have great sex, make sure you find out what you are, what they are, and then take care of it. Next, there's been some scientists that have built a number system for sex, which I find really useful, that I'd love to share with you. So they numbered the frequency of the amount of sex you want to have as you are either a 1, a 2, or a 3. So our 1s are people that are wanting to have sex pretty much every day-ish. Our 2s are like 2 to 3 times a week, and our 3s are like once a week, maybe twice, maybe once every 2 weeks, whatever that looks like. So we have our 1s, our 2s, and our 3s. Now, determine what you are and what you want, And then you can only date one number different than what you are in this category. So if you want to have sex 2 to 3 times a week, you should find a number 2, or you can date a 1 or a 3. But if you're a 3 and you have sex once a week, you cannot date a 1, and a 1 cannot date a 3. Now it gets layered even more and makes this even more difficult. We also have a 1, 2, and 3 in terms of the type of sex that you enjoy. And this is in regards to how adventurous you are in the bedroom. So our 1s are like 50 Shades of Grey and much further. Maybe they're into polyamory, bringing in other partners, voyeurism, watching, BDSM, all kinds of fun stuff is our 1s. Our 2s are a little adventurous. They'd like to try some things here and there. Maybe they're bringing in a vibrator. Maybe they're bringing in some whips, some chain, some bondage, tying people up. They're doing a little bit of fun stuff, but not going too extreme. And then our 3s is a more vanilla sex. They're just, maybe some different positions here and there, but for the most part, it's just, let's stick to missionary, let's do a few other things, and that's our sex life. So, none of these answers are wrong, by the way, whether you're a 1, 2, or 3. But once again, it's the same thing. If you're a 3, you can do a 2. If you're a 2, you can go 1 or 3. 1 and 3s can't be together. So when you combine these, we need both frequency and the type of sex that you like to have. And then you need to find a partner on both of these scales that are in one number of your number. So if you're a 2 on both, ideally find a 2. Maybe you get into a low 1, someone who's not really crazy on the 1 scale, but maybe a lower side on the 1 scale, or a 3 that's a little higher. That will work. So ideal world, find someone the same number. If you're already with your partner, I'm sure you've figured out where they are on this, and then you're going to have discussions to have the type of sex that kind of meets both your needs and works around both of your boundaries and makes both of you happy. All right, now that we're having amazing sex, we need to move on to the next thing, which is 5 things a man says when he's emotionally attached. This video over there is so important because, yeah, we're going to have great sex, but I really want to know if the guy is just pulled and drawn to me. So go over there, watch this video. It's going to be great.